Hello and welcome to episode 276. It's a lot of numbers of Sutton Impact Family Style. I'm Jason.
I'm Bill, and I'm puzzled that Soto could turn down 15 years, $450 million,
Which would be the record.
which would be the record. We'd be paying him more than Mike Trout's contract or whoever you want to name. But 15 years, which would take him to 38 years old. He'd never have to work again. He could probably defer some of the money, maybe get a Bobby Bonilla contract out of it, right?
Yeah.
Get paid for forever and forever. But I don't know. So to me, you either don't have any faith in the organization that you're in, or you're already going to set a compensation record. So, I mean, the numbers are kicking around now are 500 million, which half a billion. So, but that's an ego thing. I mean, it's an ego thing.
Yeah.
So, I mean, you got to be pretty confident. I mean, you're actually playing, you're under contract for 2 more years, 23 and 24.
Right.
So you're being confident you're not going to get hurt. You're not going to have a career-ending injury. That
You're not going to slump.
I don't know. It's a lot of risk. If you told me I could have that right now, we've seen people get traded before,
Yeah.
even with a big contract like that. So I don't know. But it seems like in an era where you're trying to get guaranteed money and everything else, this seems like the way to get it.
Yeah. And that seems like that's a fairly inflation proof contract as well. So, I mean, who's going to get offered anywhere close to that? Because Tatis, maybe? Like, I mean, I know right now we also have Lamar Jackson, who's not playing. He hasn't signed his deal either.
No, and that's to me that's dangerous too. But
And I get it,
but he says he wants to be there, and with Soto, you get the impression he doesn't want to be there.
Right. Yeah, with Lamar Jackson, it's like I know Apple and everybody's bidding to have NFL Sunday Ticket, and you have some new TV deals on the rise, but at the same time, at some point, it's like, it's a lot of money.
Yeah, it is. So it'll be a story to watch.
Yeah.
So we get the home run derby tomorrow night.
You excited?
Do you think Polar Pete will win his third in a row?
I don't see why not. I mean, he has a technique, Did you see that article? We'll do more intellectual sports for a second. But, with baseball and analytics and, it seems like Pull Out Pete has got his own little, thought process on it. They were talking about one of your favorite shows, Dad, Jeopardy.
Yes.
And they were saying how they think analytics and COVID help produce these long-running champions because they've opened up, people know how to prepare for it. You got the internet, so people are able to watch old episodes and take practice tests all day long.
Yeah.
And then now you can apply online, meaning you don't have to, there's no cost. You're not flying out to Los Angeles
To
audition. You can just do it all online. And that they were saying that, people have analyzed the kind of questions and the way you work things and how the daily double is how you end up winning the game. And they've used analytics to, create Jeopardy superstars.
Yeah, because that one guy that was the gambler,
Yeah.
he would get that daily double and go double down, and then oftentimes his match was over in single Jeopardy before they ever got to double Jeopardy because the league was so big.
Yeah.
And final Jeopardy was always a moot point with him.
Which is a great place to be.
Yeah.
I mean, especially if you land on a double Jeopardy in a category but I sort of feel like, and we've definitely, myself, definitely I'll take credit. I've definitely complained a lot about, maybe analytics being spoken about too much because it's not typically interesting. But, talking about a guy going for his third straight year, like there is a strategy behind winning a home run derby,
Yeah.
And then I read that article on Jeopardy and I was like, yeah, that makes sense. Makes a lot of sense.
Yeah. Well, I think I'm going to root for Polar Pete just because nobody's done 3 in a row.
No, that's the thing.
He seems like he really enjoys being in it.
Yeah. And 3 in a row is really, really cool. And you would hope that, he goes into
Albert Pujols being the oldest player in the home run derby.
And I guess that would be the sentimental pick if you can't root,
Yeah, that would be a sentimental pick. And then I believe Soto's in it, so we'll have to see.
And Albert Pujols at one time had the giantest contract ever.
Yeah.
Which again, you thought after his last 5 or 6 years in the league would be the reason you don't sign somebody to a 15-year, $450 million contract.
It just seems like it's too long, but if you're willing, if you want to lock him up, I mean, it's 15 years because you want to stretch the payments over that long.
Right.
You don't expect somebody to be as productive at 38 as they're going to be at 28 or 30.
No.
So.
Or healthy. Yeah.
But like we talked about it offhand, I mean, if you're making that kind of money, you probably want to be in a state without any state income tax. But the two Florida teams are notoriously known for very low payrolls and very poor attendance, and therefore don't generate enough money to buy somebody like that. The Texas Rangers and the Houston Astros would probably be my pick, with an outside shot at maybe the Diamondbacks.
Yeah.
But the Diamondbacks notoriously don't. They pay for like a year or two, and then they get rid of somebody. They don't pay either. So the Rangers have a history, and the Astros have a history. So that, to me, would look logical as two logical spots.
Yeah.
And then if the Dodgers would pay, the Yankees would pay, but then you're going to two states with really, really high tax rates.
It's
so
true.
We'll see.
Yeah.
But as we said when we started the conversation, I mean, to turn down $450 million guaranteed, you're betting on yourself, and you're betting you're going to get your way. So I don't know.
It's pretty crazy, yeah. Well, It looks like one guy that might not get his way. So we have a nice, sweet transition to Kevin Durant.
Yeah.
Looks like he's going to be playing in Brooklyn. Yeah. Because with DeAndre Ayton signing back in Phoenix, that pretty much eliminates Phoenix from the deal. It's still hard to picture.
He can't be a trade piece till January.
Right. And it's hard to imagine, that any of the other teams that he talked about, like Miami doesn't really have a trade that if I'm Brooklyn, I would take. Because if I'm not getting Bam, that's the only young player they have that I want. And if I'm not getting Scotty Barnes from Toronto, I'm not trading him to Toronto. And if I'm Toronto, I don't know if I trust Kevin Durant. Not to ball out, but not to be like, trade me the very next year, Mm-hmm. I mean, you got Masai, you've got good coaching, it's a great city, it's a great organization, but at the same time, I don't know if he cares. So we could have Kyrie and Kevin, and then obviously
in Brooklyn next year.
In Brooklyn.
With
Ben Simmons. And we get to see the team, maybe, if Ben Simmons plays, what they could be.
Yeah.
And again, it seemed like the ideal fit. Now you have a 6'10", all defensive team, defensive player of the year, perennial candidate in Ben Simmons, who can also run the break and cut and score around the hoop when needed. And then you have two guys that love having the ball in their hands, so he doesn't have to worry about it. So, I mean, it's always made sense on paper, just a matter of, what they got.
Well, while we're on trade talk, what about Donovan Mitchell going to the Knicks?
Do they want to be the Blazers for the last decade with two small guards making up all their salary cap space and never win a game in the playoffs? Because we already saw Dame and McCollum, who were probably better than these two combined, and that just doesn't work, Mm-hmm. And I know the argument because the Knicks have all their picks, and they have 4 additional first-round picks. They got some of them from the trade this year. So they are in position. But you're talking about having a backcourt of 2 under 6'3" guys, neither of whom were defensive specialists. And I'm not sure what Donovan Mitchell is. Are you?
Well, I'm not so sure either, but I know the Knicks lack some real star power, and they like star power, so
it's true.
We'll have to see where that goes.
I mean, it's been clear. I mean, I don't even know why they were hiding, pretending that they were going to keep Mitchell. Like, once you got rid of your coach, Quinn Snyder, You traded Gobert. But again, the problem is if you got essentially 5 first round picks and some swaps for Gobert, Mitchell's a younger, better player. What do you expect? If you're Danny Ainge, like, what are you expecting from him? You know?
True.
And if you're the Knicks, I mean, he's nice, but if you give up RJ Barrett, Obi Toppin, I don't know, Quigley, and a contract and 5 or 6 first round picks, aren't you back to when you traded for Carmelo Anthony again? Where Carmelo Anthony was going to, come to the Knicks. You gave up all that to get him, and then you were never able to put a team around him.
And that's the issue. I mean, if you give up too much, your idea about why you get the guy in the first place falls apart, because now you got to hope some young players you have really develop into some attraction, or you're able to throw some other pieces around them from trades or free agency, but you really don't have anything to trade anymore. So,
No.
I don't know.
Yeah, it just
seems to reinforce that the Knicks are just floundering as an organization.
And you're bringing him in with, a certain guy still at the helm who I would just try to talk into retirement and try to bring in a different coach. Have Thibodeau say he's going to step away for some front office position or, his health, whatever you want to say. But if I'm trying to build this team and I got all I don't even know what I have in my young guys because he won't play them. No,
he only plays players he trusts.
And it's hard. It's one of those no job without experience, no experience without a job. With Thibodeau, I don't trust you, but it's like you never play me. So, how can you trust me?
Tough decision.
Yeah.
I feel bad for the Knicks. I mean, they just are not. They're not the Knicks.
No.
They're just a mess.
And you had a chance to sell high on Julius Randle. And, you got last year out of him, and now he's almost toxic and nobody wants him. Mm-hmm. I think I advocated letting him walk on this podcast. I wouldn't have given him the 3-year extension because, he wasn't a rookie. He wasn't a second-year or third-year player. Like, we had seen him for 5 years. He had one incredible stretch. And it was a feel-good story, and as a Knicks fan, it felt like an extended Jeremy Lin. Not like this is the next great New York Knicks,
Right.
And again, you feel bad because Knicks have incredible fans. Very knowledgeable basketball fans, maybe some of the best basketball fans in America. And, they just have not had a team in a while worth rooting for.
Yeah, quite a while. You've had a player or two that people get excited about, but you've not had a team that could contend realistically.
Yeah.
So.
But, when they give up 6 first-round picks and 2 swaps to get Donovan Mitchell, I guess we'll see. But, if I'm making a trade with that sort of trade compensation in it, right, where I'm giving up that much of my future, I've got to put myself in the conversation with Milwaukee, with Boston, with Miami, with Toronto, and I don't think I am, I'm not even sure if I'm going to...
No, he's not. He's a good player. He's not a generational player. He's not Kevin Durant.
No. And like I said, if I'm giving up a Rudy Gobert-esque compensation package, which they'd have to give up apparently, like I need to be a perceived top 4. And again, who knows? Maybe, it's a weird, strange world we live in. Who knows what's going to happen? But if I don't see myself as a top 4 seed contender, I just don't see why you make the trade.
Agree.
Yeah.
Well, on a more exciting note, especially for you, NFL rookies start reporting next week.
Oh, I'm very excited. I read my little Steeler. They do a 2-player breakdown every day on Bleacher Report. And today was another...
I'm excited about the receiver.
I'm very excited about Pickens. I'm very excited about Calvin Austin. As they said, he is 5'7". You can't make him up to be any taller than that, but he was incredibly productive. He's got world-class track speed. And if you got a big guy like Claypool, you got a Freiermuth, Pickens is over 6 feet tall, then you got a little room for a little guy to operate a little bit,
Yeah.
And, you can't headhunt anymore. I like both those guys. I really just want to see some quarterback, which we're not going to see right now, but, I want to see why the Steelers drafted Pickett number 1. I need to.
Yeah, I agree.
And
Well,
see if
I'm
Trubisky
sure
is,
we'll get to see them in the exhibition season. They'll be on some couple telecasts, I'm sure.
oh, I'm positive, yeah. And again, you look at all the quarterbacks in the AFC, and it is stacked. It's going to be very, very fun. And as we talked
AFC
about,
West is stacked. AFC North has three great quarterbacks. The AFC least has some interesting quarterbacks
some
besides
inch,
Josh.
yeah. Well, Mac Jones is ripped right now, so you know,
Yeah.
and Zach Wilson is making headlines for banging people's moms, so that's also exciting, you know.
Oh, I didn't see that.
Yeah, he got his girlfriend called him out. He apparently was sleeping with his mom's best friend. So there's been a lot of Zach Wilson memes.
Oh,
Yeah, which I think it's made him somewhat of a folk hero. I think it's taken it's been a positive thing overall.
yeah.
So young players out there, just keep that in mind. What else do we have?
I'm thinking about betting $100 for that the Bills win the Super Bowl.
Ooh, I mean, it's a pretty good bet. Yeah, I mean, I think they're the most stacked team right now, and Kansas City is definitely a
They're a
different team
very
than they
interesting
were.
team.
Yeah, Baltimore is still looming, is a very unknown team.
I've never been sold on him as Lamar as a quarterback. I mean, he's an elite athlete. He makes a lot of things happen,
It's true.
but I'm not sold on him as the guy that can lead. If you take away the run, I'm not sure he's the guy.
It's fair enough. And obviously, the other Super Bowl contender is in the AFC North as well, and that's the Cincinnati Bengals, who got better.
We got better, and I think Kansas City's. I'm not writing off Kansas City,
No,
and I definitely think the Chargers are going to be a very, very improved team.
they should be, but they've been, you know, almost going back to the beginning of Philip Rivers' career. They've been, who got next for a long time now. And something always happens with them.
Yeah.
Yeah, like I said, I'm very excited for the NFL season. And I'm very excited this is the last year that DirecTV will have NFL Sunday Ticket. I hate that company. I think they're terrible. And I can't wait for somebody to take over.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure it's going to be Apple TV.
Which I'm very cool with. I like Apple.
Yeah.
I mean, I like their products. I know as a company they do some horrible stuff, but all the companies do, so I want the one that's going to be the best service. And I know Apple TV will have a nice option where I can just have Sunday Ticket. I pay for it individually and I watch it on my Apple devices, which is all anyone is asking for.
Yeah, I mean, it will definitely change the way it's delivered. There's no question about that.
They're not going to insist that you have some ugly satellite attached to whatever you're living in.
True.
Yeah. Well, I think that's pretty much all the sports stuff, right?
Yeah, I watched some Rookie League. I think, I've been impressed with the rookies that are in there.
Yeah.
I think that's been fun. I watched the highlights of LeBron in the Drew League, which I thought was really interesting. I like the fact that he did that, and I like the fact nobody was screaming about his insurance or his contract or whatever there was. That he let some spontaneous things like that happen. I think that's good for the game.
I think it's great for the game. Yeah, I mean, and Kyrie was going to play and then he didn't play. So that's Kyrie for you, right?
Right.
Just don't know. Completely off the boat. In entertainment news, What We Do in the Shadows is back, which I'm very excited about.
Yeah, I saw the previews for that, and I thought that's a show that you mentioned you wanted to see.
I've watched every season more than once already, and it's one of those shows that even their bad episodes are still better than 90% of the stuff on television, comedy wise.
So how would you describe the series?
Well, it's very much a mockumentary that goes back to the silly, because I mean, you've got the film crew that's sort of filming them. It's a little less, I mean, it goes back to Spinal Tap and all those sort of show. It's that, but with vampires, and it's like I said, it's absolutely fantastic. And a very sad note, I recommended The Bust Down a few weeks ago. Remember the Chris Red show on?
Yeah.
Jane Knight, who is one of my favorite characters on the show, and one of the producers and writers of the show, passed away at 28.
Wow.
So, and he had been on the Lucas Brothers. He was on Big Mouth. He had done a bunch of stuff, and yeah. So, the show that I recommended only had 6 episodes. As far as I know, is only ever going to have 6 episodes.
So, illness or what?
They're not saying. His family has not mentioned the cause. And I figure, it's tragic that he passed away, whether it was, no matter what it was. So.
Well, my entertainment, I guess we're late to the party, but we watched the first episode of the first season of Stranger Things, and we really liked it. We'll probably start the second season tonight. Tonight is the last episode of Dark Winds on AMC.
Yeah.
I think it's been a phenomenal series. I've told people that. You can watch it on AMC Plus. And next Thursday will be the last episode of The Old Man on FX, and I thought that was really, really well done as well.
It's very well done.
Those things a lot. And I'm planning on going to see Where the Crawdads Sing, because the book was on the bestseller list for over a year, and I'm interested to see the movie. And I'll probably still read. I haven't read the book. Mom read the book, but I'll probably read the book too.
Okay. We also watched the Beatrice 6, which was 6 wrongly convicted criminals. It's a 4-part documentary on HBO.
Yeah, I watched one of them. Yeah.
And this is just more a rant sort of thing, but we need to normalize just saying I was wrong or I made a mistake and letting that not cost somebody their career or their job. Because I feel like the cause of a lot of these terrible wrong convictions are somebody decides this is the way it is, and their promotion, their money, everything depends on this case going the way they want it to go. And it seems like even when it looks like, and then they just force it, and then you get a lot of tragedy. And, especially in law enforcement, there has to be a way for people to be like, all the evidence looked like it was this way. Clearly it's not. I followed the evidence at first, then it turned us this way. They're not guilty. And the prosecutor says, look, we're not going to prosecute. And it doesn't cost anybody their career or no promotion or whatever it is. Because it's, I'm in a household that watches a lot of true crime. Mm-hmm. And it seems like 90% of the reason cops do what they do, outside of the racism and systemic, all that sort of stuff, is that just, you have to get convictions in order to keep your rates up. That's the way you get promotions. That's the way the district attorney gets promotions. You end up ignoring evidence, doing everything else just to, keep that conviction rate up. And we get a lot of injustice that way. And again, not to apologize for shoddy police work, but just to be like, look, it looked like it was this way. Now it's not. And that doesn't ruin your job for some reason. What it is now.
We need to take another look.
Yeah.
Okay.
But I would say as a crime documentary, you're not missing much. It's another, just my review is, it's another injustice where the police and got railroaded people and they ended up in jail for 20 years. So if you've seen one, you've seen them all.
And there's been a lot of those.
There's been a lot of those.
Unfortunately.
Yeah.
Well, I don't have a food moment. Although I'm anticipating a food moment. The end of the month, I'm going to go to New York City, and I set up a luncheon while I'm there at a restaurant called Norma, which is a Sicilian restaurant I've never been to. And so I'm really, if anybody's been to Norma, email me or text me and let me know how it was. But I'm planning on doing that one.
Nice.
And I'll probably go to Ted's Montana Grill while I'm up there. I've always been a big fan of Ted's Montana Grill. There's one near Tallahassee, and there's one bunch of them in Atlanta. But there's one in New York City, and I enjoy it. I enjoy Ted. It's Ted. All the food's from Ted Turner's Montana Ranch. So I enjoy the place. place quite a bit. And we're going to go, my entertainment moment that week will be twofold. I'm going to go see Jackson Browne in concert at the Beacon Theater in New York, and I'm also going to see Billy Crystal in Mr. Saturday Night on Broadway at the Nylander Theater. So I've got a bunch of exciting stuff, not this week, but the following week.
Yeah. Oh, and I might have a food moment. You said it was called Norma's, the restaurant you went to?
Norma.
Oh.
Yeah.
Because I'm going to a place called Norma's Spanish Market today.
Yeah.
Maria's craving some home cooking, and they have a lot of pre-made stuff. And I just have to trust her if we're getting what we need to get because I don't speak the language, sadly.
True. Now, Norma's is a Sicilian restaurant in New York, so we're going to try that one out. Oh, and I've been watching, McElroy is now up 2 strokes on Victor Hovland and 3 strokes on Cam Smith, the Australian.
That's it.
5 holes, so still a long way to go. But I've been really interested in this, and I am going to play this course, St. Andrews, the end of August. And I am totally intimidated by this golf course.
But a lifetime experience, as they say.
As they say. A lifetime. Hopefully it has some pleasant memories, other than a picture of walking across the bridge. So
Sure.
hopefully I'll have a good shot or two to take away to make up for all the bad shots. And I don't want to go in these bunkers that have names because they look like certain death.
Yes. Well.
We have to turn around and hit it backwards to get out of the bunker. Not where I want to be.
Okay. Well, a little planning of the show out loud, and people can obviously, message you or email us. I was thinking next week will be our best of 2022 so far. And that can be, books, TV shows, movies, music, whatever we got.
Yeah, that's a good idea.
Because I don't anticipate next week being a large sports, in general, moment. I mean, hopefully something giant happens and it's exciting. We have a lot to talk about, but I feel like it could be just a very small week of sports talk. So again, if you have...
There's a trade this week.
Yeah. If you have things you love and that happened in the first half...
a trade to pop us up.
Yeah.
And maybe the home run derby will be outstanding, so we'll see how that goes.
Exactly. You never know.
You never know. All right, everyone. Enjoy. Have a good week.